Well, hello everybody. I'm sitting here in my car in the middle of an early winter storm on the edge of Lake Erie. This is Erie Shore Drive right here, which is actually closed to all public traffic. It's open to local traffic because of some significant erosion that's going along further down Erie Shore Drive, about 2 kilometers from where I'm sitting. And that's posing a problem that I'll explain a little bit later. What I wanted to show here though is the power that these winter storms have. And when I say a winter storm, today there are sustained winds of about 40 kilometers an hour and gusts up to 65. So that's a kind of a typical blustery day on Lake Erie. About 3 weeks ago there was a winter storm that had sustained winds of 90 kilometers an hour and gusts of 115. And that actually ended up destroying a house further along Erie Shore Drive. I don't think I'll get to see that today because that part of the road is actually fully closed. But let me just get out of the car here and I'll show you what Lake Erie shoreline is looking like today. So what you're seeing here are some older, probably 30 to 40-year-old breakwaters that were installed in this part of Lake Erie shoreline. And you can see down further there are some more modern breakwaters that have been installed by individual homeowners. Those are the ones made of metal. But these wooden structures were installed, I believe, by the county in the 1970s and 1980s, and you can tell they're not doing much right now. There's also been an effort to put in concrete block, riprap, all along the shoreline, and that's holding some parts of the shoreline from being eroded further. You can see the spray driven by these winter storms. I'm getting sprayed, and if I can just zoom a little bit further along. There are about 110 properties. You can't see further down the coastline, but there's 110 properties and all of them are affected by coastal erosion, winter storms, problems with inundation during these storms. And I'll go down further along the road and hopefully pick that up and we can see this a little bit further. Okay, I've driven a little bit further now down Erie Shore Drive to where some of the properties are closer to the shoreline, and these are some of the properties that are now threatened by erosion and obviously the winter storm. So I'm going to head out and have a look, and I'm going to get wet in the process. I'm on public property, which is right beside private property. Oh, just got splashed by a wave. Oh, that's a big one. So you can see some of the efforts that people have gone to protect their houses, putting up concrete, putting up brick structures, wooden structures just to prevent the spray. This is somebody's front yard, which has been eroding away, so they've built a concrete protection structure and a bit of a deck. Down further you can see a smaller house that basically has no more front yard. The front yard is really Lake Erie. And down further, whoa! Down further you can see houses in various states of erosion and protection, and a lot of concrete being dumped to try and protect the buildings. So here I am on Erie Shore Road, just on the edge of Lake Erie, and this road was built on top of a dike that was built in the 1940s. The reason for this dike was essentially to create agricultural land, which you can see off in the distance here, from what used to be essentially swamp and marshland. It was called the Burke's Drainage System or project. So they built the dike that protected or allowed farming on the farmland to the right here. And then because this dike was a linear structure that connected basically one community to another, they built a road on top of that. Now the problems come when the owners on the left-hand side here, when they started building seasonal properties and in some cases permanent homes in between Lake Erie and the top of the dike. So they're essentially hemmed in by the dike in behind them, and then now with lake level rise on Lake Erie, they're suffering problems of winter storms, coastal erosion, and in some cases the homes are actually being destroyed by these waves and high water events. Lake Erie has been experiencing high water since 2013. 2019, I think, was the highest level ever recorded for, or at least for the last 50 years since records have been kept. And that's causing significant problems for the homeowners here, about 110 properties. Now let me just get out of the car. Apologies for the wiper going off every now and then. It's a winter storm with lots of rain. So these houses here are all facing problems of erosion. All of them are trying as best as they can to protect their properties through private means, dumping concrete, creating breakwaters. Some of these are fairly new, fairly significant investments. This road blockage was put up in March 2020 because of concerns that the eroding shoreline would actually overtop the dike and then begin to erode the dike, essentially causing a major problem for access to these properties. So they put up an emergency sign only allowing owners, tenants, and invitees of the properties on this part of the road, so I can't go down there. And this has been in place now for 9 months, 8 months. And again, as you can see in the background, this is the agricultural land that was essentially created out of marshland from the top of the dike. And you can see the drainage ditch that is constantly draining this land.